Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head on UATV. I'm Oles Gerjuk. This time we're going to talk about tourism. Did you know that in some countries it can generate up to 10% of GDP growth? These figures are pretty impressive, but what about tourism in Ukraine? Last year, according to the State Statistics Service of Ukraine, the number of domestic tourists was 5 times less than the number of Ukrainians going for vacation abroad. So we decided this time to welcome to our studio true fans of Ukraine who have explored all of the country by motorcycle. Joining us here are Monty, Myrtle and Natalya Adamenko. Hello and thank you for coming.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
First of all, guys, how did you get this idea to travel across Ukraine and by motorcycle?
Well, the motorcycle came because I love motorcycles. It's my passion. It's what I live for, really. But the general idea just came because the two of us love travel. And when I came to Ukraine originally 2 years ago, you try to do some research online, like what's to see in Ukraine. And really, in English, if you're looking online, you find Chernobyl, Odessa, Lviv. That's, Kiev. That's it. You can't find anything else. And so after... You
needed some more information.
Yeah, I'm like, there's more to see in Ukraine than about 4 places. There's more. I know there is. There just is not info on it. And so we talked about it a while and we had this idea, but we didn't know what to do with it. Then we met a Danish guy, actually. He's working here in Kiev, or not in Kiev, in Khmelnytsky, actually.
And he has the same problem?
He has the same problem. He's married, living in Khmelnytsky, and he has an IT company, and they make apps. And he said, if you want, we can make a travel app. You just have to provide the info, because I'm working on the app, so I can't drive. And I'm like, okay. So we spent 5 months driving around Ukraine, collecting info, seeing things, meeting people.
Mm-hmm. But how did you get together to travel? Did you ask Natalya for advice where to go?
Well, we met almost 2 years ago. And last January, we went to Turkey. Just for a quick trip. She does travel journalism, so we went there and we did some hiking along the coast, and she wrote some articles about it, and then it just kind of all evolved from there. Yeah.
We were discussing how it influenced to life people who live there, like tourism, and we decided that this can help Ukraine to improve some tourists.
Mm-hmm. Let's focus on travel in Ukraine. Could you tell me more about the trip? For how long have you traveled? Where did you go? How would you decide the destination?
We started last December, January, just compiling places. We made a Google map and just started talking to people, researching, using Google Translate to search in German, Polish, any language we could think of, and just putting points on the map. And then when we started in June, we basically just started, connect the dots, just point to point to point to point. We ended up driving over 20,000 kilometers on the motorcycle in 4 months.
That's a long way to drive.
Yeah, it's the same distance as Nordkap, Norway, to Athens, to Portugal, all the way to Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia.
Oh my God.
That's 20,000 kilometers.
That is pretty impressive.
And we visited all regions in Ukraine and saw some places there.
Yeah, every region we touched.
Regions. Okay.
Yeah, the only region we didn't go to would be Crimea due to there's issues with me as a foreigner crossing there now. But we were in Donetsk Oblast, we were in Lugansk Oblast. We didn't go into the ATO zone, but we did what we could.
Do you keep some track of places you have visited?
Yes.
Do you know how many places have you been to?
It's over 300 now that we visited. And yeah, that's on the app that you can look at, yeah.
That is on these in this app that you're talking about, and it is called
Ukraine Inside Out is the name of the app. You can find it on Google Play or the App Store. You can find us on Facebook if you want more info that way. Instagram, Ukraine.
So
Inside
now
Out.
you're gonna explain more about the app. What can we see in the app? Actually?
So the app, basically, when you open the app, you can choose a few different things, but you can open it up to where you have a map of Ukraine, and you see the different icons representing the different categories. So there's like castles, churches, military sites, and things like that. And you can zoom in, zoom out. You click on one, you can open up this point that you want to look at, and then you get info in, depending on what language you choose, English, Russian, or Ukrainian. And there's pictures, info, GPS coordinates, and also the road conditions that we found to get there.
So you filled it up with all these information
Yeah.
Yeah.
on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only two of us, yeah.
A typical day for us started at 6 in the morning and would go till 10 o'clock at night.
Wow, how much
Without
time?
days off.
Yeah, how many days did you spend to create all these?
From June 1st to the end till October 1st.
Ah, so basically you started working on the app during your trip.
Yeah, we were updating it live as we went. Yeah.
Wow. And the pictures are also taken live.
We
from,
took the pictures. Yeah, everything's us.
Well, that's nice, I would say. And how popular is the app so far?
Right now, we don't know exactly how many downloads we have because Google Play, they don't give you an. It's over. Both of them are over 500 downloads, so we're looking at somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 downloads right now. Between Google Play and the App Store. So it's not as successful as we wanted it to be, but we're trying to get it out there more and get people interested about it and just let people know it's there. You know, it's a difficult thing to do. We didn't realize how hard the advertising part of this was, but I mean, we had so much fun doing it. We want to do more with it. We're just seeing what we can get together with partners and things like that now.
So you want to continue traveling and exploring Ukraine?
I would love to. Yeah, I
develop the content of the app.
Yeah,
right?
I figure we saw about 75% of what I would like to have seen. We just ran out of time. That's all it amounts to. But at this point, for us to continue next summer, we need funding, so we got to find partners. But we're working on it, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, Natalya, all these travel during 3 months, that sounds pretty exciting, and all these app creation, it's also very exciting, and probably it's expensive, as I assume. How did you finance, both of you? How did you finance
Mostly by
these processes?
Yeah, the financing was us. Yeah, 100% us. We contacted a few, we contacted almost everyone in Ukraine looking for sponsorship and partnership and everything, and we couldn't come up with any. There is a GoFundMe page if people would like to donate that way. Unfortunately, if you're in Ukraine, you cannot use GoFundMe. So I don't know what the deal is with Ukraine and GoFundMe, but they don't like each other.
So are you at GoFundMe or?
We are at GoFundMe. It's just if you are inside Ukraine, you can't donate to us.
Only around the world.
You got to be outside of Ukraine.
Well, and why wouldn't Ukrainian sponsors pay attention on your application?
The biggest reason we heard is because we're amateurs.
It's our first project.
Yeah.
So.
And it's something that we're okay with. I mean, we're not happy about that, but we were passionate about what we're doing, and we did everything we absolutely could. So we know we have a good product, and it's free to download. That's the other thing. It's free. That was my biggest concern. Is it's free. I want people to see what's here. Ukraine, from what we've seen, can compete with anyone in Europe on a tourist level if they want to.
Yeah, and it navigates basically people around the most beautiful sites of Ukraine.
Yeah, right? and we were very honest with it. There's some places that's very, very, very popular, like, for example, Buki Canyon. It's not very far from Umon, and it's a beautiful canyon, but it's completely full of trash.
So
we made sure to mention that. I don't want to lie to people and talk about how amazing something is, and when you get there, it's not.
Actually, when I was preparing for the interview, I read an article about you in which you pointed out that there were some beautiful things about Ukraine and some ugly things about Ukraine.
Yeah. The worst part that we found is the trash. I tell everyone, we gave a lot of presentations as we went, as many as we could at different organizations and around. And the biggest thing I would tell people, if you want to do anything right now to help Ukraine, pick up trash. It's simple. Just that's it. That is, for me, the biggest issue we saw. Otherwise,
it's very simple, and everyone can do it.
Yeah.
What was the other issue?
The other issue we had one issue, and it was with a museum director in Ternopil, and he just was rude to us and screaming at us and because we asked a question about if we could make videos in his museum, and apparently you cannot.
Oh, I'm very sorry about that experience.
It happens.
But what was then the most exciting part of your travel? I don't know, maybe some place was the most shocking.
I think both of us were just in general surprised at the level of the nature here. You have the longest canyon in Europe is in Ukraine. The only desert in Europe is in Ukraine.
Well, Oleshki Sands.
Yes.
Have you heard the legend about this desert?
What's your legend?
Well, I know the legend about Cossacks. When they had this initiation ritual, they had to spend 1 month without any water or food in the desert, and then they would become real Cossacks. But actually, this is just a legend because back then, when there were Cossacks in Ukraine, there was no desert that time.
Yeah.
So it's for modern Cossacks.
Yeah.
That was interesting. And Thorlonga Palace. The palaces of Vinica Oblast are amazing, but there's one in particular that was awesome. It was a Danish guy. He had come here, I believe, 200 years ago as a diplomat, and he started translating Ukrainian music and stuff into Danish. And now some of these Ukrainian folk songs have become Danish folk songs.
And where can we hear them? In
you
the
have
museum?
to go to YouTube and you can find all this there. But yeah, it's just unbelievable the connections you find with other countries. You know, Denmark and Ukraine. And this guy, it was awesome. Yeah.
Nice. And what were the most impressive places for you, Natalya?
I guess Kam'yana Mogila. It's a place that's older than Egypt pyramid and Stonehenge. People came there and treated like sacrificed place from 20th centuries before our times. So it was impressive. And people in our trip, people are most impressive.
And what are your plans now?
Well,
across winter, late autumn?
Yeah, at the moment, Natalya just bought a car, and we are putting a bed inside of it, and we're going to drive to Portugal.
Yeah, because it's pretty cold in winter to drive a motorcycle, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for this interesting conversation.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Those were Monty, Myrtle, and Natalya Adamenko. Thank you for watching Head to Head. I'm Oles Gerjuk. Goodbye.